Good morning and welcome to Carnation Crafts. It's lovely to have your company. I hope you managed to have a nice cup of tea between shows. I'm trying to find you. Oh, I found you. It might have some noise. Hold on, let me just mute that. I have found you on both YouTube and on Facebook, so I know I've got you all for comments. Hopefully we can do it on both. Right, so pick a mix. So the earlier show that we did this morning at 9 o'clock, which you can find on YouTube or on the Carnation Crafts Facebook page, was all about the nested dies. And that's because Carnation are bringing us 2 exclusive offers just for today on Deal of the Day. And that is for your nested dies. There's a certain amount of nested dies within that collection, or within that range, if you like, that you can get on the 342. It's not all of them, but there is a vast collection of them. And then they're also doing 3 for 2 on the pick and mix. So if you want to have a look at the earlier show, please feel free. This one is going to be more about the pick and mix themselves. Hey, Karen Richardson. Hey, Pamela Linton. Are you all right? Hey, Karen Vincent. Yeah. The pick and mix, I haven't done a show on the pick and mix, so it's sort of new to me as well. And what it is, I think we get an awful lot of questions from people in the group saying, oh, it'd be lovely if we could have a die of such and such or such and such and such. And obviously, because that is infinite, instead of that as being part of a collection, Nick and the creative team got together and they have created dies that we might use at given points without it having to be part of a sort of a main collection. I'm in trouble with Annie. Hold on. You're a bad lady, Carla. I was not going to buy anything but the 3 for 2 nested fell into my basket. Listen, Annie. Yes, I agree. Bad lady. Bad human. But you will thank me for it, because those nested dies will last you forever going forward for your crafting. Nested are just the most important. Which ones did you get, Annie, out of curiosity? So the pick and mix, what they do is they fill a need that we have for things that might not be found in a particular collection, but that we need as individuals. So for instance, when people have said to us, you know, we'd love musical instruments, those kind of things, there's some of those in there. So we get to pick what we want individually. So you get the die and you get the artwork for it as well. We've got the lovely Janine Dawson, who we bow down to. Hello, gorgeous person. Love you, chick. I love you too, Janine. I think you are just wonderful. Let's have a look. Annie says circle and square eyelets and the strip-on. Yeah, it was a good choice, Annie. It was a good choice. Suzanne, good morning, Carla and Miss Tiztaz. Just been crafting for the first time since doing my backing with a lovely one to remember. And also using some pick and mix on this collection too. Well done, Suzanne. Well done, you. Gorgeous collections at the minute from Carnation, right? And the one we've got launching on Monday, no exception. It's absolutely stunning. They're on one. We know when Carnation are on one. They just bring us awesome stuff. The pick and mix, let's have a look at the boards so you can see what we're looking at here. So you can see what sort of bits and pieces we've got. So they're individual dies. It's not a collection. This isn't a collection of things. This is a set of individual dies. So we've got your tennis racket, we've got the bow tie, we've got the sunglasses, the beautiful ornate scissors, which I love, 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 the violin, the cocktail, which Miss Taz loves. Then we've got the telephone box, we've got the letterbox, the baseball cap, the pie, the the horseshoe. I was going to say shoehorn then. It is not a shoehorn. Then you've got the beautiful little bird. You've got your rugby ball, your trainer, and your football. So it's not like you go in and buy the collection. These are individual pieces, and you've got 3 for 2 today. So that means if you go to the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk, and you hit the very big red Deal of the Day button, it'll bring you up your 3 for 2. And on there, you'll see the nesteds and you'll see which nesteds are being part of this amazing deal that they're giving us. But also then you see the 3 for 2 and you can go in and pick and choose what you want, which is awesome. Get your free artwork. Yvonne says, hi Carla, you make me smile with your lovely sense of humour. Enjoy all of your shows. Yvonne, that's so lovely. Thank you. What a really nice thing to say. Thank you. That was very kind, Yvonne. I'm very grateful. So you can go on there and you can pick and choose. There are 2 pages. Please have a root through both of them. More to the point. More to the point. It's knowing they're there for future use, right? It's knowing, do you know what I could really do with a die of, and you can go and scroll and see if it's there. So they're important for that. So this is this board with these in, and then we also have a second board here. So you've got your apple, you've got your gorgeous letter in a bottle, which I love so much, your handbag, your pizza, your umbrella, your anchor, you've got your backpack. I love that. Isn't that gorgeous? The little postcard, really sweet for journaling as well. Then you've got your camera, you've got your ice cream, you've got your cupcake, your pineapple, your trainer, your key, and your orange. And I really love oranges. I don't know why, but I love oranges. Are you okay, Mrs. Taz? You're looking at me confused.
No, I was going to ask which three you would pick. But
which what?
which three would you pick?
On the pick and mixes. Ooh. The ornate scissors, the postcard, and the orange. If I was to pick three, what would you go for?
Cocktail.
The cocktail.
The camera.
The camera.
And the pie.
Would you?
I feel like they're nice, versatile, and they're multiple. You can use them for
multiple things.
And they're both genders. Everyone loves a pie.
That's very true, except for me. I don't like pie. Hello, Jacqueline Ward. So lots of different ones for us to play with, lots of different ones for us to look at. We've got the artwork. We know it's there. We also know that, more importantly, because everything with Carnation is designed in-house, you're still getting the same standard artwork that we expect from Carnation. So no matter what you put these with regarding other collections, for instance, it will still work. I'm going to get the name wrong. There's a collection, Miss Taz, that's got apples, orchard outing. Is it orchard outing? It's got apples, lemons, orange tree groves in my head. Is it orchard outing? So you've got your fruits here that would be lovely with those, wouldn't they? So big topper on the top in plain, and then the piece of fruit on top. Really, really nice. Is it orchard outing? Excuse me, don't sneeze on air. It's really bad form. Sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, so lots of different ways of bringing these in. We've also got the old and new telephone crafter select, which the phone box would go with. And then we've got the letterbox. So you've got all different ones where it can all play together, right? So these are important, your little pick and mix. We're going to make a couple of little cards. So we won't go too much into town, but I do want you to see some of them because they're sweet. Now, what I will say is I haven't prepped these demos per se. I've got some card bases cut out and we're going to play. And do it that way because it's the first time I've really had a proper play with them. I know Janine and some of the team have, so we'll have a look at some of their samples. The wonderful human being that is Miss Taz, who is one of my best friends, made a load of finished samples for you. She really went to town. She crafted her heart out and really went to town on them. And then this morning, as she was driving to work, her car broke down. Unfortunately, I went to rescue Miss Taz. We did not get the cards out of her car. So we're using the DT ones, which we would have used anyway. But unfortunately, Miss Taz was going to do her debut of cards and they're not here. So we will get to see them next time she comes. We'll have a look at them. But well done, Miss Taz, for trying. We all appreciate your work.
Is that for me?
That's you. You are the best dad, Miss Taz. So thank you very much. So these are obviously basic cards, and this is kind of what we'll be playing with today. It's mainly to showcase the individual pieces so you can see them as they look with cards. But we've also got the little sentiment pieces as well, which come in sheets for you to cut. Hats off to the best dad. So you've got different ones that you can choose. Giddy up, it's time to celebrate, Miss Taz. Really cute, right? So we can just cut these up, put them on some foam. Lots of different ones for us to play with. Lots of us. Ooh, cocktail o'clock. Sip, sip, hooray.
That's my motto in life.
And then the other one for you, Miss Taz here. I only have pies for you. Cutie pie. You're a cutie pie. So we've got this one. Then we're going to move from there. We've got the beautiful bird, which I want to say is a swallow, but I actually don't know what bird it is. So let's not pretend that I do for any time. Oh, I've got people on the tube of the U as well. Mandy Motley, hello. I don't know if this will let me scroll. Angela Dale, love these pick and mix. Hello, ladies. I've never had the tube of the U up before, so this is very exciting. Let me see if that'll scroll. It doesn't like me. Just 1 second. Try and get you all involved. No. Live chat. Let's have a look. Here we go. These dyes are so useful. That's the thing, isn't it? It's having your essentials. Good morning, Carol Hart. And thank you, Carol Burrell, for the bless you. I like a bless you. So we've got the beautiful bird wishing you peace and joy. So I presume dove of peace. Miss Taz, help me out with the bird. I'm cheering you on. I love that sentiment for friends. I think that's a really important sentiment. There's something about it, right? I'm cheering you on. I'm with you. I'm behind you. But look at the artwork. Look how it just pops. Use your different coloured cardstocks. Really, really gorgeous. Good morning, Katja. How you doing? Lovely. Really, really pretty. I've got trainers like that, Miss Taz.
I actually really like that.
I know, it's cool, right? Oh, hello. Oh, hello. You could do that if you were being a bit flirty, Miss Taz. Oh, hello. Man of the match. If you've got grandchildren, for instance, this could be awesome for that. My little one loves his football, so that would be really cool for him. I love the colours. Really, it's what we'd expect from Carnation, right?
Colours.
Is that the best football colours, is it? Who do you support?
City.
City. You're one hot dog. I love these. They're just cute. Special delivery. I had a special delivery yesterday of Cornish pasties. It was very nice. If you're reading this, I love you. How sweet is that for Valentine's? If you're reading this, I love you. Cello there.
I want to know who came up with these sentiments.
Happy birthday, old sport. We could send that to the boss, but don't tell him I said so. Suited and booted. This is going to be for you, Miss Tiz Taz.
Oh God.
Cutie pie.
That looks good.
Does that look good? Let me just let that one escape. Oh, look at you, Miss Tiz Taz.
That's a night in for me.
That's a night in for Miss Taz. Although, to be fair, she usually has a bottle with a straw in it. Shake it up.
I mean, I'm a bit late at the moment.
You are ace. Love these so much. One of my favourites. You're so lovely. Aren't they pretty? I've got scissors like that. Aren't they so beautiful? And my favourite. Happy travels. I love oranges. There's something about the colour orange. There's something about the fruit that's just very aesthetically beautiful. It just works. So for me, that has got all the good vibes about it. I like that very much. And there is something very, very, actually we'll play with that maybe. There's something incredibly strong about using orange when you're using a white background. White and orange are just incredible together. So we'll have a play with that, I think, in a second. Let's just have a look at how some of these come up with some of those nesteds that we were looking at earlier, in case you have decided to go for kind of both of those things. Let me just move some stuff so I've got some room to play. Let's pop that there and put these here. Right, let's play. So I've got all my little pick mixes in little bags here, so I can pick and choose from what I want, and I can go through. And this is always a good idea when you're crafting at home, to put things in sort of bags, have them able so you can grab. So one of the things that I do a lot for Carnation is I will cut out a certain amount of stuff that I know I'm going to use again and again and again, and I have them in little bags so I can always grab them, and I kind of keep them filed under what they are. So florals, for instance, I've got a big box of florals that I can just take from, and it just makes, because my brain doesn't work in maybe the same way as most people's, it's easier for me to file it that way and be able to find it and then go straight to it, rather than having to cut it each time, because my brain, then it becomes a big thing that I've got to do. So I do it en masse. It's a bit like doing batch cooking. I do batch dyeing. So let's have a look at some of these. While you're in the chat, let's have a chat with you. Pam Simpson says, hi, Carla and Taz, ordered my pick and mix. Well done, Pam. Pam is, yeah, which ones did you get, Pam? Pam is one of our very talented DT team. She's incredible. Pam, it's lovely to have your company. Chat, while you're there. The ones that we showed you, is there a particular one that you want me to use on a card? If there is, I will go to it. Now, let's have a look. So we've got little dinky cards for this show. Just have a look at kind of what we've got. because we're just using the pick and mix on their own as opposed to with a collection. So let's have a scan at what we've got here. So I'm just going to treat them in exactly the same way. So we're going to score at 1/2 inch, just down, and red liner tape, always my go-to whenever I'm scoring. So this is exactly how I create the demos for shows. Tracy is on her break at work. Good morning, Tracy. I hope your day at work is going well. Pop that through. And let's treat it as we always would. Carol Hart says Pam's cards are the best. Carol, I think Pam will be very, very touched that you've just said that. Thank you. Right, I'm going to place that on. So now my card base is ready to go. And I love doing little small cards. There's something about it, right? There's something really, really sweet. Suzanne has been crafting this morning since 6 AM with my new dies that were delivered while I was poorly with my bad back. Exciting that you got them now, right, Suzanne? You can have a play with them. As it happens, I believe I've only got my 5mm foam tape here. So it's either that or tear tape. So we won't worry about it too much. I'll use the 5mm. Obviously you don't have to, but it's great for doing your apertures. Now, if I was doing an aperture for this, I wouldn't use 5mm and then 5mm because that's too heavy for me. You don't need it, but what I would tend to do is put those two together with a flat tape because it's something so small, 5mm is going to look way too much. So I'm going to just put those two together as they are, and then I'll use a 5mm to raise them so I get the shadow place. It's just a different kind of choice, but obviously it's up to you. It's just the way I would play with it. It would just feel too heavy for me. So I don't need too much of this on. I think this is Miss Sharon's, you know, because this doesn't feel like my tape. If Miss Sharon's watching, I apologise. I'm still going to use it. I'm not that sorry, but I'll just place this here. And this one onto here. I'm not using much because I just need it to stick down. Miss Pam says she got the second collection post box, telephone box and the men's ones. Well done, Pam. Great for the masculine, isn't there? There's quite a lot in there for masculine cards, which is really nice to see. The problem being, of course, is that Nick and the team can only produce so many at once. So obviously you guys have needs for certain things and they're trying to fulfill that by giving you individual little dies. So just place that over. Really sweet little window, isn't it? And then I'm going to use my 5mm. This is going to give me some kind of height on my aperture, which is going to allow a shadow coming through. So just placed in, placed round. Apertures are very, very powerful things. I'm a huge fan of the apertures. There's something about framing it in such a way and allowing it to recess that gives it a lovely impact. The two at the side are just for stabilisation so it doesn't dip. These two are my sticking points. I can take all of it off, it doesn't matter either way. But those stabilise it and create a level playing field. And then I'm going to go in. Wouldn't that be lovely with a photograph behind? Really sweet. And you could use that as a little frame for a photograph if you had like a photo. You know, we get school photos, don't we, of the Litleys and all the other, and you'd be able to put a little photo there and have a little, wouldn't it be sweet? And that, of course, is using those crystalline card shapes from the nested that we saw this morning. So what I'm going to do here is just place in a couple of bits. We're going to play. I'm not going to do a set thing with any of these. I'm going to play with some different shapes and we're going to see what looks like what, where we're going to put sentiments if we have them, and how we're going to use them. Let me just open these. There. So the bow tie with the little sentiment that says, "You suit me." Now obviously this is long line, so I'm going to be inclined to put my little sentiment there. I would be likely to put that on foam tape because I don't like the way it overlaps there, so I would need height on it to create the division there. And then I have got my little bow tie. Now what I could do with that is raise the bow tie a little bit and keep that flat and just pop it underneath. Cute, right? And there it sits in there. It's very, very sweet. And I just want to sort of go through how we can use the same card base and how we can change it round using different pieces of the vignettes. But it's really important, because I didn't obviously plan any of these demos, but when we start to look at the colour of that perfect paper, when we talk about Carnation always using the same hues so that everything goes, you'd think that that was a perfect match for the bow tie, and it's not. They're not designed together at all, but it's because we have the same hues and tones. So what's happening is this colour is bringing out the tones within the bow tie, so it just works, and it's really, really sweet. Now, alternatives would be to obviously have this facing the other way, so having it portrait style and placing that on top so that I'm not covering up, and then maybe pushing that through, playing with it in that way. You suit me. The problem for me is when I do that, first of all, I don't like the white space there at all. I would need to put the sentiment inside. But the other side to it is, as soon as I pull those wings up on that bow tie, it becomes a hair bow to me. So I go from the masculine bow tie to a feminine hair bow. Now that's great for versatility. It means it can be both, but it changes the way the sentiment works for me. So just to keep that in mind, it could just be a me thing, but that's the way it works. Alternatively, I quite like the idea of having the sentiment sitting bang in the middle and the little bow tie framing out the card. Different ways of playing. It's all about using them in different ways. Obviously, you're likely to be using them with other parts of your collections, and we can absolutely do that. So other collections that you've got at home, other pick and mixes that you've got mixing and matching. So for instance, obviously the orange and the apple would be amazing together. So it's just how you choose to play with them, and it's how you choose to use your sizes. Now I've obviously got a fixed card shapes here, so it depends what I want to do with them. I'm not going to stick and glue all of them, but I'll do some of them so we can see. So I'm using the Hessian. Now to me, the Hessian absolutely speaks to those scissors, because you've got the fabric and the scissors. So I've got my little scissors here. So beautiful. To be honest, you don't really need much else, do you? The joy of Carnation. So it seems it's your birthday. How gorgeous is that? That Hessian's just so beautiful, isn't it? Really cute. Eileen says some baby items would be good to have. Absolutely, Eileen. I mean, the great thing about when they do these kind of things is there's always room for growth, right? Because these aren't a collection. It's not like we're bringing you Sheer Delight and adding to Sheer Delight. It's that these are individuals to start with, and then we can bring more as we go forward. So there's two collections here, the first collection and the second, which were divided on those boards. I'm sure there'll be a third. I'm sure they'll keep going, because we get so many requests from you guys for so many different things, and they can't fulfill those all within collections. There's only a small team of people. Poor Nick, bless his cottons, you know, he's got obviously some limitations on how much he can put out, and Carnation are very strong on the fact that they would rather put out less and bring you the quality that you get than suddenly just bombard with a ton of stuff where the quality drops, both of the artwork and of the stuff. So this gives them the chance to give you some individuals that you've asked for without changing, you know, the main collections and the quality of that. So I appreciate them for that. So that's your little scissors, and we've got the two card shapes here. Now I'm going to bring in this because I'm still working with those nested. We'll probably still go back to those other, but look at this. Start bringing some of your nested together. I'm not going to make this into a card. I can score that, but let's just do it for speed's sake. This, because it's got the chunk on it, this I can go 5mm on. So I'll take this in, throw it on. Now, this needs to sit on there, but I can raise it because I've got the chunk of the heart. So it works, it's okay. Whereas the other one was so delicate, I wouldn't. But I'm okay with it with the heart because the heart's chunky. And it's, that must have happened about 5 times now, Mrs. Taz. And through. If you all could see Miss Taz right now, she's sitting in what can only be described as a coat that looks like a sleeping bag with the most enormous hood. And she's kind of cuddled up in it. Look at that. Beautiful chunk. She does look like E.T. Isn't that so sweet? And that white against that colour with that beautiful shape around the edge, and then how we frame this out. This is where apertures are so important. Place that in the centre points. That would be your card base. Isn't that just delicious? Something about the chunk. I know that chunk isn't everybody's cup of tea, and I know that it's not appropriate for all the cards that we make. I'm perfectly aware of that. But every now and again, by building in, especially when you've got, because not all dies are made equal, so where Carnation's edges give us that really strong bevel around everything, it gives us a really nice framework for doing height in our cards, because you've got that soft tone around the edge of it. It looks like marshmallow around the edge, if you see what I mean. It's got that very soft tone to it, so it allows me to build that chunk. It's got that, it looks squidgy. There's something about it. So that shape is just wonderful to me. Now, if I was to bring in something like the scissors again here and to just place them in, you could have them on the layer, you could have them underneath the layer, you could have them coming down. And anything that you put now on this is going to pop because of the white border. So something like that, where then if you use this, it's gorgeous, right? There's no effort in that. It's an easy card to make. It's beautiful, it's clean, it's simple, it is absolutely lovely. No effort. It's a super quick one, and it's about using your nested dies and using your apertures to give you that kind of oomph. Now let's have a look at something that is a little different. Let's go in for and see how this changes up with different types. I love these musical instruments. Beautiful. The instruments are done so well. Again, placing it down that central point. And we've got 2 here. We've either got Future Star, if you've got a little in your family that's learning, or I'm your biggest fan. And putting the sentiments at the top and the bottom makes a difference. On this one in particular, I would be more inclined to put this at the bottom, and that's because I've got a lot that's bottom heavy already, and I quite like the fact that I'm drawing that down and I've got the clean heart at the top, because we get more detail in the 2 curves of that heart than we do in the point at the bottom. So just from a composition point of view, I'd be more inclined, but it is entirely up to you. If I was using the smaller sentiment, I would be happier to put that at the top. I prefer it at the bottom, but I would be happier to use that at the top. I like the fact that it's bottom heavy. I like the fact that I leave those beautiful clean lines from the heart at the top and just place that through. Isn't that so pretty? The way we play, right? The differences in the things that we do. Let's have another look at these and go through. What I'm going to do is bring these 3 card bases in, and we'll have a look at them on all the difference. So, Miss Taz, give me the name of a pick-a-mix, if you can remember one.
Football shoe.
The football boot. This one. Alison says, sorry I'm late. I'm just in from Drew Yoga. What is Drew Yoga? Oh, Miss Tistaz, that sounds like the stuff I avoid. Right, let's put this down this way. If I was using the football boot, I would not use the rose blush kind of perfect paper, obviously. I would go in for a blue hint. I would use my blush papers, but we're just going to have a look at how they play. Now, obviously, you're going to have sentiments and various other things, but look at the way they pop. I would be unlikely to use that in that aperture, I've got to tell you, but I would use it on a level. And I think if I was using something like that, I would turn, especially with the diamonds, turn it that way, and I would raise it on foam. And the reason that I'd raise it, let me just do that while I'm here. Is because what will happen is it will pop. You see how the shadow makes it pop? It gives it something else. It provides some kind of base for me that allows it to lift, allows it to be its own. It owns the card doesn't own it. And it's just simple techniques that we learn as we go along. When do you need it? When don't you? When is it appropriate? When is it not, and why? And I think, especially when you have flat layers at the back, whenever we raise something like this, see if I can get that off. Whenever I raise something like that, then I can really build into it. If I decoupage that up now so that I don't ruin my Hessian card base. And there you go. So you have the different playways. Isn't that lovely? That football boot, when you put it with something that's neutral at the back, such as your Hessian, it still creates something very masculine. And that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for the mix of both. Because to me, when I first see the Hessian, I think of something that's quite feminine because it's got that beautiful kind of edge that we expect with sewing. But in actual fact, it's burlap, isn't it? And burlap, it's a farm, it's industrial, it's beautiful. And that just looks really gorgeous to me. I would not put it in the heart. That to me just wouldn't work for me. A football boot and a heart are not things that I associate normally together. That's not to say that, you know, others wouldn't. It's just personal preference, isn't it? But for me, it wouldn't work. That to me is my choice there, and I think it's beautiful. Now, the alternative to that, while I'm here, so we're still going in with those blue tones. So let's bring in another card shape. Let's talk about our gorgeous eyelet and ring. Now, I won't go too far in with these ones, but let's talk about these. If I take one edge, I love the plaited edge so much. Now with these, when I'm working with them, what I tend to do is fold and glue rather than cut. And that way I know that they remain secure at the back, okay? Just makes it easier for me. Everyone plays their own way. I'm going to use one plaited and I'm going to use one plain so that I get just a different finish. Put that through. I love these so much. I think they will forever be my favourite nesteds. And just push. Now I'm not going to bother gluing. I will leave them as is because it's just for demonstration, but I will place that on a little bit of foam. Just so I can see that rise. And roughly put it in the center. So I get that difference, and those edges look gorgeous, right? Against that shadow point, it's really pretty. Now, obviously, because I've got the football boot for this particular example, and it's elongated, unless I was going to build something else with it, I'd be unlikely to put it that way because it's just it looks odd, right? There's something about it. You either need a grounding device, which will make sense of it. Then I've got a ton of white space that I need to do something with. That's too empty. Or I change the portrait or the portraiture of the card, if you like. And then when I put that in, it makes sense. It becomes sensible. There's something about the common sense of it. You can change it this way and have a completely different border. and it'll change how you compose the card. If I'm going to have it this way, I'm more likely to put this down so that it's got a grounding device and put a sentiment probably about here. And I'd be unlikely to put it in the center because I'm going to get an imbalance because I've got a line going down here in color. So it's probably going to go over this side instead. And it's that balance. Now, the only way to change that then would be to put the boot at this side, put the sentiment in the middle, and the sentiment's going to become my showstopper. So it depends how you play, where you put the things as to what will make the difference. But it's just gorgeous. But for me, you know what? I'm really happy. That to me is such a really awesome card without even a sentiment. There's something about it for a Litley. Sometimes it's all we need to say. It's just recognition. I recognise that you love football. I recognise that. So it depends what you want to do with them and how you go. Again, we take in... How pretty is that? Now, because that is the length that it is, I would turn it. This is where I would bring in, and I would angle that towards that point, and I would put in a little sentiment if I can get hold of it. Simple, right? Clean, beautiful, really soft, really lovely. Sometimes less is more, and sometimes the impact of that can be huge because our focus point becomes the artwork. It becomes how gorgeous that is. It becomes what it means to the person who's receiving it. And I think that's a really nice touch. It's not, you know, it's not always a set, and we can go tongue in cheek because we've got obviously some more sort of fun pieces. Let's have a look at something that's very delicate like that. And let's have a look at it with a slice of pizza. So what this is going to do is make this pop because of the pale blue. So this is going to just pizzazz. Okay, can you see how the colour of that suddenly becomes intense? I wouldn't place it there, by the way, but you can see how that becomes really, really intense because we've got a very pale blue on the outside. So you're playing with tone at this point and playing with hue. So then, for me, I'd be more inclined again to point it inwards because of the shape of the L on the outside. Depends how you want to play it. Or I would be inclined to maybe, I don't know, maybe corner it out there. I think possibly put it over those, and then put my sentiment on the top. It's just about finding ways. I wouldn't use something that big for the pizza. I would use a smaller card base if that's all I was using. You've got a piece of my heart. If I'm using the sentiment there, then I'm just going to stick the pizza straight in the middle. But if I was just with the football boot, I can just use the football boot. With the pizza, certainly on this size card, with the pizza, I need something. The sentiment's got to come on there because it's too naked without it. It's not sensible without it. With the sentiment, it's absolutely sensible. You got a piece of my heart. I loves it. I think I love pizza more than I love romance. Got to tell you, just, you know, just the way I am. Let's have a look at some other stuff. Miss Tiz Taz, let's go for some cherry pie. Now, let's have a look at all three card bases here. Let's start over here. So we've got that portraiture. Pop that into a little aperture with a spoon, just tailing over. Very, very sweet, very, very cute. Dropping it into that aperture. Now the alternative is that we build layers up and place it on top of that, which is absolutely something we can do as well. It's entirely how you want to just kind of play with that and how you want it to be. It's just pretty. So I only have pies for you. If I was doing that, I'd want to keep it on the white and I'd want to keep it clean, so I would be inclined to stick it at the bottom. You can alternatively stick it over the pink at the top so you elongate your white space. That's another alternative. I would never put it at the top. The reason I'm never going to put it at the top on here is because of my spoon. That's top heavy. So if I put the sentiment at the top, what I'm doing is making it way too complex at the top. It's just, there's too much going on. Now the alternative obviously is to have it this way. place it in. I only have pies for you. Okay, give us a button. Again, what I will say is, as far as sentiment's concerned, because I'm just working with small card bases here, I wouldn't have a sentiment that's you know, that is that big on something that is that small. That's common sense. I think you all know that, but we're just playing and having a look at the different ones. I only have pies for you. Happy birthday. Let's do that one. Same thing. Over the edge probably for me. Alternative. I don't like it raised. I would have to have it. You see now what we do here, this is why I would need it over this side. The spoon's over there, that L is over there, there's too much. So I would never try and take that over there as well. But we do have a mirrored vignette, so if I did desperately want it that way, I can, of course, change it that way. And that looks more sensible to me. That white space isn't a problem because I'm filling it with sentiment at the top and I've got something at this side. And I can allow that space to just move and breathe. So remember your mirrored vignettes, remember how important they are. Alternatively, putting it on something that is higher. Cute. I would be more inclined to put that down there. It's just making sense of your white space, right? And again, probably you wouldn't put it on something that large, but we're just playing, we're just looking at shapes, we're looking at what we can do with these and how important they're going to be in your main collections or in any card making going forward. Happy birthday. Now, for the very simple reason that that takes away completely from the heart, I can't work out that that's a heart in between. The first thing I'd do on that, if I desperately wanted this outside edge of a heart, which I love, I would never cut it as an aperture underneath. This would just be a full layer. I wouldn't use the aperture. So where you've got the hole here, I wouldn't have that. I just have it as a plain piece of card stock because that makes something weird happen to the heart. So that would be my go-to on that, just in case that's of interest to anybody at all. Just to me, it's a bit weird. So that's that one. And then your final, making sense of it with your burlap. Gorgeous, right? That's winning me over this morning massively. I only have pies for you. Really sweet, really cute. Raise it up on some foam tape. Let it pop, let it breathe, let it be its own item. So that, because your card base, the thing with card bases are really important because obviously it's your, if you look at a house on an aerial view on Google Maps and you look down, what you see is the roof and any items that are around it, a car, if there's a driveway, something like that, you see those. What you don't notice is the plot of land that it's based on particularly. We're looking at the items. So that plot of land that we see, we recognise it. We know it's there, but it's not the focus unless we're particularly looking to buy a plot of land. It's not the focus. We focus on the house. And so that's what, whenever you're sending a card to somebody, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at what's on it. And so your card bases are fundamentally incredibly important, but it's important to allow them to be a platform, not to be all singing, all dancing, jazzy. And that's why your nesteds are so important, because they give you that beautiful edge, right? What they don't do is detract from what we're putting on them, and that's essential, because they're the things that we're decorating with. So I always try and keep that in mind. Google Maps, aerial view, what is it we look at? It's the things that are on top. How do we make it pretty? Well, we keep those borders and those edges of that plot of land neat and tidy, and we make them look nice. And that's the same as your card bases, your mats and your layers. It's how we build. It's how we make it visually pleasing. So that's how I do it. Everybody's different. I'm not saying my way is right. It's just how I kind of try and picture it in my head to make things make sense. So that being said, this one, what I wanted to show you, because I think it plays beautifully, if I can find it, here we go. And this one mainly, just because of the colours. and because I love the eyelet and ring so much. But sometimes the hardest things to say are the sympathy cards. They're the ones that we just struggle with, right? And it's really difficult to not overdo it because we want to show the people we love them, that we're sorry, all of those things, and it's difficult to know where to go with them. This absolutely says it all. Perfect, right? It's not heavy, it's not unpleasant, it's not in your face. It's exactly what you want it to say, and it doesn't detract from the actual sentiment that you're trying to give. It's exactly as it should be. There's nothing too heavy and nothing too much with that. So that's why these pieces are so important. They're key pieces in our collections, because they're always going to bring you everything that you need. They're always going to give us, all the things that we're looking to say without them being in your face. And I love the fact that what we just get here is that beautiful plaited border at the bottom that's just enough detail to not detract. It's your plot of land. That's my house, and that's my pieces on my Google Map image, and they're important. Last one, just for colorways, and then I will leave you all in peace. Where we're using something like this, and I can use these two, I think the other two will clash hideously, but we can have a look. Where I've got these two, and I've got those colors, I just want to look at that color orange. Orange and blue are best friends. They play beautifully on the color wheel. So, start here first. Really beautiful neutral background for the orange to pop. And first thing I'm going to do is put some foam tape on that, because I'm going to create the shadow. I love that so much. That's going to always be probably my favourite of the pick and mix. Let's lift this. Gorgeous, gorgeous neutral behind, which allows it to be its own thing. That allows that to be its own thing. It's just pretty. I think if you were to use this with Orchard Outing, with those frames for Orchard Outing, and raise up in the center and have a platform on white and put that in the middle, would just be absolutely extraordinary, right? Something gorgeous. And then a little, obviously, if you want it, You Are So Sweet, put that here. Or you could turn this as a square. I quite like it as a diamond, I've got to tell you, but you could put it as a square. Put that down. Make sense of that. Cute little cards, really cute little cards. Now, that's how it looks there. Let's see how it pops against blue and white. Well, first of all, let's see how it doesn't pop against the red. It won't play nicely. Pink and orange don't play nicely. See how we lose both colours? They kind of shout at each other, right? Red, they just don't play nicely together at all. So I'll take that. I mean, I love that shape though. And blue and orange. They're always going to sing. They're always going to be besties, because there's something about them. You can ground that if you want to down at the bottom. If you're going to ground it, you're going to need to have a sentiment that's a little bit further from the top. If you put it at the very top, can you see where the problem lies with the height distance? There's something wrong. You could go at an angle, which is kind of, it's fitting with the kind of tongue-in-cheek, or take it in just slightly above center. If you go center, it's too low. That doesn't make sense of this. Slightly above, you're going to make sense of your white space. You're the zest. Look at that orange against that blue and white. Something about it. I love, love, love blue and orange. There's something just gorgeous about that playway. Your pick and mix is It's your library of essentials. It's got a lot of masculine there. We get a lot of people in the group who will say, I could do with some masculine elements. If you see that, please do say to them, go and check out the pick and mix. There are masculine elements in there. We've seen them, the football boot, the baseball cap, you know, hot dogs, all of those kind of things that can go more towards the masculine, things like the bow tie. So there are elements there. The pick and mix, the nested, some of the nested are on your 3 for 2 today. It's an incredible offer, but it's only one day. They were never going to put the nested on for more than one day, ever. I understand why, but it is your only day to get your nested on a 3 for 2. So now's the time. You need to go to the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. There is a little red button at the top that says Deal of the Day. Click that and it's going to show you what we've got. There's only 12 hours left. At that point, everything goes back to its normal price and you won't have the opportunity for this particular offer certainly anytime soon, maybe never again. So 3 for 2 on your nested essentials. This is the time to do it. If you want your 3 for 2 on your pick and mix dies, that's on all of them, so it doesn't matter which ones you select, then now is the time to do that. Go through, have a little scan. You'll get the actual physical metal die and you will also get the artwork, which you can download from the Carnation Crafts website as well. And that allows you to create all of your gorgeous, gorgeous pieces to create some really beautiful cards. Sometimes those little pieces on their own are enough to create a card, but they absolutely complement the collections that you've got from Carnation and the kind of design to be in with part of that as well. So things like some of the fruit for comfort of home, those kind of things, there's bits that will go in with all of the collections. So look at how you play with them, look at how you work them, or absolutely just make some really simple, quick, easy cards. They're there for you. It has been really lovely to have all of your company this morning. It's always really lovely to have your company, but I love it when we're in the Carnation studios. There's something about the family hug. I will be back on Monday for the launch. It's me with Davey B. It's going to be Sharon on Tuesday. Am I right with my days? It's going to be Sharon on Tuesday.
9, 11 and 1.
9, 11 and 1.
Then you and Sharon on Tuesday at 12 and 2.
And that's Sharon demonstrating 12 and 2 on Tuesday.
And then we've got a craft along on Thursday.
Craft along on Thursday, which is very exciting. It's what?
Proud to be.
Proud to be craft along on Thursday.
I believe it's one to remember on Friday.
It is one to remember on Friday.
Ironically.
The one I keep forgetting. 4 days of shows next week, which is exciting. I will see you all on Sunday at 2 p.m. when I will do you a Facebook preview for the brand new collection. And until then, please do take care of yourselves. It was ever so nice to have your company. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.